Alrighty, let's see, I think it's like the 17th of July 2012. Well, this is not exactly how I planned everything, for sure. Rehab or whatever generally don't go this way. Usually it costs money, and I ain't got none. I'm going to dedicate this one to Wesley Johnson, by the way. He's still young, but he's been through his own share. Most of us have our own journey, and depending on what it is, there's always something that helps you be you. Usually it's very unpleasant. Even when you got lots of money, something else is going to show up and make your life miserable. Money can't buy happiness. It can certainly make you safer. It doesn't provide happiness. It just provides security. I had a dream last night. Probably had in a fever. My dreams are movies. This one was reminiscent of Dune. The lead character drank the water of life, which is like drinking LSD. And he found out things that will kill most people. It's spiritual. Most people ain't supposed to know that stuff. They count on other people to handle that power because they can't handle it. When I was young, I would go to that place, and it started out really small, like the tip of a thumb on the top of my forehead, and it would grow and just squash me, and I had to shut it out. Now I deal with it as a feather, but it doesn't give me power. Well, not worldly power. Right now, last Wednesday, I had some bacon and it splattered, and some of it splattered onto the left side of my knee. You won't believe what happened after that. The next day I had a little teeny white spot from the burn. It got worse until Sunday. It was like, you just can't, you gotta do something. I'm gonna show it to you. Ew! It's ugly. So we went to urgent care. They'll take you without you have insurance. No, I ain't got none. I haven't had insurance since 2005. I didn't need it back then. Shame I can't use it now. The system is what it is. I got a piece of paper from the emergency room. This is triage. This is all we do. It's all we're required to do. You need to have a family doctor to follow up. Well, who's going to have a family doctor when you don't have insurance? They don't want you. So first I go to the urgent care, and she looks at it and says, "You're going to the emergency room. I think you need to be worked on." We go there, wait another 3 hours. Altogether, I've seen like 12 people, almost all of them gathering the same information. This is bureaucracy. Finally, the doctor shows up. He spends 30 seconds. He pokes and prods. You know, I'm not used to being in that position. So I turn my head and I'm like, ooh, you know, like, does that hurt? Not really. It feels like I have an alien probing at me. He's like, interesting. You know, little guy. I mean, little thin. I cut my thing off now. I just have a mustache. He didn't say much. Triage. All I gotta do is get you something that might work and send you out of here. That's not what the urgent care lady thought. She was like, you probably need intravenous antibiotics. He gave me cheap antibiotics. I'm not seeing much changing except it's getting worse. He said, if it gets worse, come back. you know, I'm going to get charged over $1,000 that I can't pay for his 30 seconds and all the other people doing the same job over and over and over. Now take a look at this. To me, that is nasty. I'm going to try and talk Dan into getting some antibiotics from the internet because, you know, I can't afford to pay what they cost through the bureaucracy. With no insurance, yeah, that's a bureaucracy in itself. Both bureaucracies expect so much because you gotta have it that I, as a poor person, I can't do it. I'm barely, I don't even know, well, she don't want me to lose my leg, you know, so gotta get some antibiotics. I'm taking what I got. I'm not really seeing much. If it keeps getting worse, I'm going to go to get a second opinion at another place that will take you without insurance. But I remember this guy actually talked to me, so I might actually get better answers. Oh boy. Because I don't have any income right now, and I planned it out well to the point where we're not dying, but there ain't no money extra. And she likes to be in charge of things, and she has every right to because it's her money right now. But I can tell you, when she didn't have any money, I pitched in. I didn't give her shit. I think it's females sometimes like to do that. Men too sometimes. But if I can't drink, I can't drink. I'm not going to let that stop me from doing what I do. So I had a dream last night. Yeah, I mentioned that. In my dream, as I said, it was like drinking the water of life. And I was looking through this thing, wondering what was what, and I went through, it was a portal, but in dream mode, you're just kind of floating around. And I ended up getting back to where it all began, and it was me. This is where it all began. I'm like, yeah, I know, but it's still freaky, you know. The body here and the little boy that still lives with me, inside of me, is me. And then you got the power that flows through me. God, I wish he would free me soon. Don't know if that's going to happen. I can't really get even a temp job, which is basically you work for the temp agency and then they hire you out to somebody else. So if they don't like you or they don't need you, they let you go. No questions asked. You're not unemployed. You still work for the temp agency. And there's lots of them. So evidently this is a very profitable business for everybody except the people that work for them. It also shields the employers from bad guys and bad girls because there's always good and bad in all things. There's plenty of movies about the source. It's just strange to have that dream. I've had dreams similar, but that's the first one where you go through a circle of things and then you end up looking at yourself. It wasn't physically this face, it was my spirit. And I was like, whoa. And then I woke up. Like I said, I had to sell the Jetta. They covered their butt. They said the battery was so dead they had to reprogram the computer, which means anything that had to do with how that happened, then less than 2 seconds, the computer lost its mind. The engine revved up to 6,000 like that. After it wanted to take off, and I put it in neutral because I knew from past experience I could put it in neutral and turn the key off. It wouldn't shut off the last time, but when I turned the key back on, it went back to normal. This time it just whoom, off. So I got some guy to come see it, and he said, for $1,500 I'll buy it, but I got to see it run. So we hooked up the charger, we turned it on. He said, your engine is blown or something. I was like, yeah, I believe that, but they said, they didn't know how it could happen. Well, actually, they didn't say that, but who would want to buy a car when you know that they're not willing to own up to that shouldn't happen? On its own, it's just going to start to take off, and when you put it in neutral to save your ass, it just kills itself. Who would want to buy a car like that? Even if it took 10 years, which it did, I think it was 11 and a half. But who'd want to buy a car if you knew that they weren't going to own up to it? So I don't really mind not drinking. I like drinking. The biggest thing about drinking is if she's going to make it miserable, it ain't no fun, and why do it? And still nobody's calling from all the applications that I put in, so obviously you got to go down to basically slave labor, and I can't even do that with a leg like that, you know what I'm saying? And to get it fixed, jeez, I mean, this system doesn't like people that don't have insurance. I've heard stories where, because it's triage, that's all they're required to do. They'll fix you up enough to get you out of there, and if you can't go no place else, a couple of days later you come back and they fix you up and get you out of there until you're dead. You know how much bills that builds up and nothing good happened? A lot. That's not the way it's supposed to be, and Barack Obama, thank you, first one to actually get it done. There's so much going on that's good and bad. Good and bad. Wesley often focuses only on the negatives, but he gets onto the good stuff once in a while. He's still young. He mentioned he had at least one mentor, a blind black guy, doesn't matter if he's black or not. But in life, especially when you're young, you'll have lots of mentors. I had mentors in books, I had mentors in movies, I had mentors in TV series. Spock taught me how to be logical and control your emotions. Other people taught me what they had, and eventually you move on. Either you moved or you just move on. To be what you gotta be, you gotta keep accepting what you can get from other people. And when you get what they got to give, then you gotta move on. Especially when you're young. Man. I'm just so glad to be out of the city. It's so out of bounds. Everybody that can wants raises every year, and yet the people at the bottom, that's where you're getting a lot of your taxes from, they ain't getting raises. So rather than get your raises from their raises, because taxes are based on what people are paid, if they get raises, you get more money. If you need more money and they're not getting paid more, then you raise taxes on them, which gives them less. Again, this doesn't sound very functional. I just hope that I can get this thing fixed. I also have a Candida albicans infection in my prostate. I've had that for over a decade. I went to a urologist, a professional, a specialist. I paid him his top dollar. He never figured it out. I went to the place where I'm probably going to go if this doesn't start getting better. He said, go get a urine test. About 5 days later, they called me back and said, you got candida albicans. So I looked that up on the internet. Oh my God, it never goes away. It's like diabetes. You got to keep treating it. That's a cash cow for the bureaucracies. And I ain't got no insurance. That's, again, another bureaucracy. To pay another bureaucracy. Man. Well, I'm gonna say I'm happy for those of you who are doing well. Those of you who are not, keep your faith. I've been through so much hell, different than Wesley, different than everybody else's. We all have our own lives. But somehow, following the sixth sense, the little voice in my head over all the noise, at least I'm here. I made it. If I get a decent job, I'll be doing fantastic. But getting a decent job, that's tough.